Is ADHD a real disorder? ADHD is considered as a real disorder since it causes what can only be defined as an impairment of a person's mental facilities. Tosto helped to support this argument by stating that impaired mental functioning not brought about by outside interference, i.e. damage to the brain via external force or chemicals, can be classified as a mental disorder. In the case of ADHD, the work of Mohammed points out that aside from its symptoms, e.g., inability to concentrate, not being able to pay attention, hyperactivity, etc., which cause a decline in the quality of a person's life, there is actually evidence towards this disorder having a biological aspect to it. Kronenberg explained that studies on the brains of people with ADHD showed that there were differences in their prefrontal cortexes as compared to their contemporaries of the same age. The prefrontal cortex is theorized as being responsible for aspects related to concentration, reflection, impulsive actions, and the ability to block external distractions. This shows that individuals suffering from ADHD do not act that way because of their personalities, rather, it is due to the fact that one part of their brain has developed differently, resulting in the manifestation of their odd behaviors and tendencies. It is based on the arguments which have been presented in this section that ADHD can be considered as an actual disorder with its own symptoms and a biological reason behind its occurrence. One of the common arguments against classifying ADHD as a real psychological disorder are those made by Calderon and Ruben, who stated that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, is actually more of a collection of symptoms rather than an actual disease. The authors even stated that at some point in a person's life, they actually show the tendencies of someone who has ADHD, i.e., hyperactivity, lack of attention, boredom, etc. However, these behavioral aspects tend to be temporary and fade away over time. Since a real psychological disorder does not simply fade away, or is exhibited by most of the population at some point in their life, then it can be argued that ADHD as a means for diagnosing such behaviors is utilized far too broadly, and as it is sometimes used to describe common behaviors, it can't be categorized as an adverse mental condition. In support of this statement is the work of Norman, which is based on the common patterns of diagnosis utilized on children that supposedly had ADHD. The findings of Norman revealed that patterns of diagnosis for ADHD among psychologists often included factors that pertain to inattention, lack of desire to participate in class, or even boredom. However, outside of classes or the school itself, Norman noted these children functioned perfectly well and had no issues whatsoever. Since a true debilitating psychological condition is not environment-specific, i.e. only manifests in a person in one area and not another, this means that the pattern of ADHD diagnosis used was faulty. Therefore, Evarts presented the notion that the patterns of diagnosis for ADHD have significant faults and are at times looking for problems that simply were not there to begin with.